While all the Tathagatas are one in the Dharmakaya, they may be variously known to various classes of beings who imagine their object of worship to be exclusively their own. Indeed, there are so many synonyms for the name Tathagata that we cannot begin to enumerate them all. The wise know this well, but the ignorant may refuse to acquiesce in this way of understanding even after they have been instructed. Hence the following remarks in the Lankavatara, quote, "Said the Buddha, O Mahamati, listen to what I tell thee. The Tathagata is not the non-existent. He is not the holder of all that is unborn and undying in all things. He is not one who waits for conditions. I declare him to be the unborn one, whose synonym is the Dharmakaya, who manifests itself as it will. This is beyond the understanding of all the philosophers, Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and those bodhisattvas who have not yet passed the seventh stage. I come into the hearing range of the ignorant in this Sahaloka world in hundreds of thousands of three asamyakas of names, and they talk to me under these names, yet they fail to recognize that they are all my own appellations. While I am thus known in hundreds of thousands of three asamyakas of titles, not only in this world but in other worlds, my names are not exhausted. I am like the moon casting its shadow on water. I am neither in it nor out of it. Those who know me will recognize me everywhere, but the ignorant who cannot rise above dualism will not know me. They pay respect and make me offerings, but they do not understand well the meaning of words, do not distinguish ideas, the true from the false. They do not recognize the truth itself. Clinging to words of teaching, they erroneously discriminate that the unborn and undying means a non-existence. They are unable to comprehend that one Tathagata may be known in many different names and titles." Close quote. This infinite multiplicity of names in which the Tathagata is known to all beings, though they do not themselves realize the fact, betrays the pantheistic tendency running through all the Mahayana schools of Buddhism, and at the same time leads us to the conception of the transformation body of the Buddha. There is no mystery in the Trikaya doctrine of Buddhism. If the Buddha is compassionate enough to see suffering beings, there is no other way to satisfy his heart's desire than that of dividing himself into so many different forms and approaching sufferers. The latter, however, may think that they have what they want exclusively in the form revealed to their minds. In fact, the Tathagata is not at all dividing himself. If it seems so, it is due to the discrimination of his devotees. The transformation body is thus a creation on their part. It is not an emanation of the Tathagata. I have said that he had to divide himself to satisfy his heart, but this is no more than a conventional and human way of speaking. Therefore, the sutra compares the activity of the Tathagata to the moon reflected in water. The moon is divided into thousands of reflections, as many indeed as there are dipperfuls of water. This is due to the presence and working of the original vows in the hearts of all the Buddhas, and the working is altogether effortless and without any designs. And yet how purposeful it all appears! This is one of the principal messages communicated in the Lankavatara. We now see that the transformation body is most intimately connected with the pranidhana or vow of the Buddha, and this pranidhana is the spiritual echo or response to the suffering of beings. When sentient beings begin to be conscious of the contradictions within themselves, they have an intense desire, awakened for some sort of unity or harmonization, which may be called emancipation or enlightenment or salvation, according to the point of view taken of the situation. This intense desire thus awakened in the hearts of sentient beings cannot remain without calling forth some response somewhere, because the feeling is the cry that issues forth from life itself. And if there is anything living in the Dharmakaya of the Buddha, he can never remain in the quiet of samadhi. He must move out of his lotus seat. This moving out is the terminology of Mahayana Buddhism, is pranidhana, or vow.